Hello, everyone, and welcome to another Lords of the Sith podcast. Today, we're going to talk about the Clone Wars. My name's Denise, and I'm here with Mary.
Hi, guys. Sorry, no Lee today.
Guys, I told you to turn to the dark side, and that's true. So here's the proof.
The dark side have cookies. Come on.
Yeah, cookies, cool cookies. Anyways, so the Clone Wars, for those of you who don't know, it's actually really important because it was at a time when it was the only Star Wars thing happening. It was the Clone Wars. It started in 2008. And it was cancelled when Disney bought Star Wars. Not because Disney is me, we're going to comment on that more, but because it was on Cartoon Network. So it was a matter of licensing and stuff. And now they just announced at the San Diego Comic-Con, which is huge, they just announced that they're going to have a final season on Disney's streaming service. And that's a huge announcement for Star Wars. And we're going to comment on that. So Mary, what's your opinion on that?
Well, confession time, I have only watched a handful of the Clone Wars episodes, including the Mortis arc. But what I have seen, I really enjoyed. I really like Ahsoka. I really like how they were able to take minor characters only seen in the films, like, you know, Kit Fisto and Aayla Secura, and kind of like, and even Barriss Offee, oh my goodness, and just like develop them so much more. And I was on Twitter actually when the news broke, and oh my god, I have never seen the Star Wars fandom so united in their happiness. I don't think it's been since maybe episode 7 was the episode 7 trailer was announced. I mean, my god, it was very exhilarating to see the fandom in such a good mood.
Yeah, for me it was huge because I watched it, my son watched it, and I was watching at that time that I remember that there was nothing else Star Wars. I remember a moment that I'll never forget. I was at a toy store and I was in the Lego section and there were the Lego Star Wars, which were all Clone Wars, and then this little girl comes at 3 or 4 years old. I was like, yay, Star Wars, Captain Rex! And I'm thinking, oh my god, for her Star Wars is Captain Rex, and I always remember that and think of this whole new generation who grew up with Clone Wars.
Aww.
And what it and what it means for them. And I myself watched it and I thought it was very, it wasn't always perfect, but it had good character development, and it was amazing what they could accomplish within two timelines. And also for those who like Anakin, you have to watch it because Anakin is you really feel the love, between Anakin and Obi-Wan, and also Anakin and Ahsoka. It's a beautiful relationship. Also a lot of love there, and also Anakin and Padme finally understood what she saw in him, because I watched the movie. It's like, are you crazy, girl? And in the Clone Wars, I get it. It's like, oh, okay, I get it, and it's really fun. So I'm happy because it wasn't finished. It was left unfinished, and now they're gonna finish what they started.
just going back to what it means. I have a friend, and he's not the biggest Star Wars fan. He's not in the fandom or anything. But when I told him, he's about my age, in his 20s. And when I told him last night that it was coming back, he was ecstatic. Like, he was going, oh my god, I grew up with that show. I cannot wait that it's coming back. So even though he's not a huge Star Wars fan, that just shows, what a popular show it is and how it touched, so many people. So yeah. I'm not surprised it's got this reaction.
Yeah, and like you said, it's a positive reaction from, like you're saying, in a fandom that was a little bit divided. We have an overwhelmingly positive reaction, and it's really nice to see. It's really fun.
That just it kind of makes me think. Now, I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist when it comes to Star Wars. I'm wondering. I mean, I know Disney and Kathleen Kennedy plan way in advance, but I'm wondering how much did the backlash from certain sections of the fandom influence this decision to bring back the Clone Wars? Because poor Kathleen Kennedy has taken a lot of stuff, from these certain sections. And Disney as well, so I'm wondering if they're bringing this back to change the tide, if you know what I mean.
That's what I think, in a way. And I don't see it in a bad way. I see it as a positive thing. Let's bring happiness to the fandom. Because the thing is, they announced it at the San Diego Comic Con, whereas they should be maybe promoting the new series that's going to start next year, which nobody really cares. Resistance. It sounds cute, though. But, I find it's only 2 years from now. So, one thing, they want to promote their streaming service with something that people want. And I actually think that they want to say, see, guys, we care about you. And in case of the Clone Wars, I'm going to say that they do care because they have to finish. They had no choice. People who are angry, you have to understand, they had no choice. It was on Cartoon Network. It's an issue with licensing. But then they went and released on Netflix even some episodes that were kind of unfinished. And they also released at StarWars.com 2 arcs that were pretty much unfinished. Do you know any company that releases unfinished stuff just so that the fans get the stories? I don't know many. So they really made an effort for that. Plus, there were some comics, there were books. So they were trying to. It's not about pleasing the audience. It's about, having a relationship, a positive relationship with the audience, I think. And I like it.
I like it too. I'm wondering if they will actually, officially air those unreleased episodes. I know they're on the American Netflix and they're on DVD, but it would be interesting if they, officially aired it. But we will see. Do you have any theories or predictions of what these new episodes might entail?
Well, one thing that's really huge is that we have to remember that Star Wars had 2 anthology films, and in both movies we had big characters from the Clone Wars, right?
Saw Gerrera.
Yeah, and half Darth Maul, because Darth Maul died in the movies. Half Darth Maul is is the Clone Wars character, so it's big. So I'm thinking, that's a gold mine to fish for stories, for arcs, for characters, and I like it that it takes a lot from the expanded universe. So it kind of, like you said, unites the fandom in a way. So for anthology films, for things, I think that's one thing that they're going to do. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, the one thing I think I'm really excited about is that scene at the end of the trailer where Ahsoka is reunited with Anakin, and just, oh my god, the look on their faces, it was just kind of harrowing in a way, because Anakin looks amazed, and just so emotional to see her, and Ahsoka kind of coldly turns around, and she has this kind of just this unflinching, not harsh, but very cold look on her, and says, we meet again. It's really, and then 20 years later in Rebels, it's the opposite. Vader's the one who's looking at her really coldly, and she's looking really emotional that her master has turned into this monster. So that was just an amazing little parallel there, I think, which I found really sad.
Yeah, I thought it was sad too, and I really like how they, like I said, I love Anakin and Ahsoka's relationship and how they played it so well. Because actually, I find that it's weird to see such a loving relationship between male and female characters that's not romantic.
Yeah,
I know some people ship him, but it's which is fine. But it's a minority. I love it. It's wonderful.
Yeah, that's what I love as well. It's kind of it is a different dynamic, but it sort of reminds me of Finn and Rey in that way. Just a pure friendship between friends. It's great.
One other thing that I think, that's another conspiracy theory coming to me, is that maybe Disney is no longer afraid of the prequels. Because I was thinking about it, no, they don't mind the prequels. But if you think about it, Episode 7 had almost zero reference to the prequels. They're very small. And the cartoon show that came to replace Clone Wars, which kind of, I thought, Rebels, right? It was placed right before the old trilogy, the time period and the themes, little boy in a planet alone, crew so I'm thinking that Disney in the Lucasfilm in the beginning, they were trying to be, say, guys, don't worry, this is not gonna be like the prequels, and now they're no longer afraid of saying, yeah, we like the prequels, and that's what I think. What do you think?
I agree. I think there was only one little reference to the prequels in The Force Awakens. It was when Kylo Ren said maybe the Supreme Leader should use the clone army. That was the only reference.
There's another one. There was some there are other things. There were a lot more, but they're tiny, Easter eggs here and there.
I can't remember them at the minute. But anyway, The Last Jedi had a few more prequel references.
Oh yeah,
So,
definitely.
But maybe it wasn't that the fact that they were afraid of the prequels, because if they allowed Rian Johnson, who began writing the script in 2014, I think, if memory serves, then they allowed him to write that. So I think it was more of a question of, let's focus on the original trilogy first, so we can bring all the fans back and get them interested again. And now that we are waiting for episode 9, you know, it's a perfect time to release prequel stuff after focusing on the original trilogy for so long, because they are not going to release any sequel trilogy stuff about Rey or Kylo or Luke or Leia, because they are the big money spinner. They're the characters that run it. Kylo and Rey's relationship runs it. You know, they're still doing the Poe comics. They're gonna. I think Poe will appear in the Resistance show as well.
I think. Yeah.
He's now that's good, because he's a character that they can use to promote the sequel trilogy stuff while they wait for episode 9. But they're not going to do that with the other characters. So it's a perfect way to release some prequel love again. And also, I think what also helped was Hayden Christensen was at Star Wars Celebration last year for the 40th anniversary, and the reaction that he got a huge positive response from fans, and I think quite a lot of them were people who had grown up with the prequels and who are now adults. You know, it's a generational thing. So I think that shows a lot of how the prequels do have a lot of love. There we go.
Yeah, I think so too. By the way, me and Lee were always saying we want to see Hayden Christensen, you know, as Ghost, Force Ghost Anakin, and the sequel trilogy. It would be really cool.
No,
but anyways,
no,
no, you don't want it.
No, Force Ghosts are so cheesy.
Ah, come on, they glow blue. They're cool.
They'd make a good nightlight.
Yeah, I don't know. I like Force Ghosts because I like the end of the Return of the Jedi. I think it's really nice. And yeah. Anyways, we're talking about trying to please the fandom. So I actually, like I said, I'm wondering if they actually are paying attention to the backlash. And I think as a huge company, I think they are.
Yeah, like Disney, they will... You know, companies in general, like, they will look at fan responses whenever, you know, they're releasing something, regardless of whether it's come out or not. I mean, just look at Reylo. You remember all the hate in the dark days? Like, I remember, like, just after September, they suddenly started going full Reylo marketing. I mean, you had that Entertainment Weekly article come out saying that that they were two sides of the same coin, essentially, the light and the dark, and it kept coming and coming and coming. And it was such an abrupt change after promoting Luke and Rey for so long.
Yeah, it's true.
So, yeah, and also, I'll quickly explain, even, like, you know, The Lord of the Rings, when that was being filmed, I think the internet had just... You know, the internet was starting to take form.
Yeah.
And Peter Jackson's original plan was to have Arwen
fighting, I know.
Yeah, fighting in Helm's Deep. And the reaction from the fans was just, you know, they hated that idea. Which, you know, unfortunately, it's a shame for Liv Tyler, because I think she would have been awesome in those scenes, but that he decided to cut Arwen from Helm's Deep as a result of that. So they do always listen. They're always watching in that regard.
Yeah, I think it's just that sometimes, especially if you go on Twitter or something, the idea that you get that some Lucasfilm employees are that, you know, the only people that disliked The Last Jedi are some racist bigots, which we know for a fact is not true at all. You know, many women, many Reylo, many people who are not white who are saying, didn't like it, you know, even if sometimes you enjoyed Reylo. And it's not so much about, it's for a bunch of reasons that are not necessarily bad. I think it's good to pay attention to the criticism. They're obviously going to ignore people like, I don't know, there was a group that made a version of The Last Jedi without women. That's ridiculous, right? Of course they're not going to pay attention to that. But the real fans that are saying, oh, you know, I was kind of disappointed at Luke. You know, I think that's something that they need to listen, and who knows?
Oh yeah, for sure. I think this is a result that they're maybe perhaps learning the lesson. You know, and maybe starting, because I know, like, there was a bit of a thing where Lucasfilm employees did kind of, I think, clash with fans over Last Jedi. So hopefully this means, you know, they're learning their lesson and taking into account what some of the fans want. So it's a good move. It's a very good
Yeah.
move.
And then maybe it was always planned, it was only for the streaming service. But in a ways, they are giving fans what they want, because that's something people want. One thing I love about the Clone Wars is that, we talk about the new canon and how it's all about women, which is very debatable, by the way, because if you look at the position of these female characters. But if you look at Clone Wars, we have a lot of female characters. The season finale that came on TV, we had 3 women. We had Ventress, Barriss, and Ahsoka. You had an epic fight between Anakin and a woman, which actually, too, he fought a little bit with Ventress. True that Ventress was a little bit overpowered. they had this villain that, there's this scene that she force chokes both Anakin and Obi-Wan at the same time. Like, seriously? But it's a super cool.
Yeah. I am kind of sad that they probably won't feature Dark Disciple, because I think, with Quinlan Voss and Asajj Ventress, because I think they were going to do an episode on that, but then it got cancelled, and so they turned it into a book instead. But it would be nice,
But it's possible.
Yeah,
It's possible that they
animated.
still have it. I know that there was an arc in the Clone Wars that came straight from the comics. It was about Ahsoka as a slave, and it was in comics before, and it became episode. So I think it's possible, and and I think maybe there will be movies coming out of there. Maybe we're gonna have one day an Ahsoka movie or something with Ventress. I would love that, really.
You see, I'm a bit hesitant about that, and it's one of the reasons why I absolutely hated Darth Maul's cameo in Solo. I just think bringing the characters from the comics and the books into the movies really, I don't think they should do it, because I think it just creates a problem where you have to explain to the general audience who this character is and what they do and blah blah blah. And the general audience wouldn't have seen the Clone Wars and or read the comics or the books. And I remember, I think that there was a lot of confusion with the general audience as to why Maul was still alive. It's just no. I wouldn't want an Ahsoka movie, because people will be saying, where was she during Revenge of the Sith? Why did Anakin never mention her? Who is this chick? Which reminds me, I think I've heard that this last arc of the Clone Wars actually takes place during Revenge of the Sith, which I'm very curious to see how they'll pull it off. What do you think?
I think it's awesome. I think it's going to explain, because when the Clone Wars came out, that's what they were saying. Who is this? Who is she? Where did she come from? And I guess we're finally going to know what she was doing during that time. I think that's what we're going to know. But just going back, when I talk about the movies, I think these cameos, I kind of agree with you. But, they want material for the anthology films. Why not they could make an awesome movie with the Mandalore stuff, the Mandalore conspiracy, for example. They could take some of the bounty hunters like Cad Bane and take, if they want anthology movies, and if they want to tie everything together, I think it makes more sense to do it with characters that are known and to tie things together than to just pluck things out of nowhere, and also if you think about the Boba Fett movie, Boba Fett as a kid, which I don't really like, he's in the Clone Wars. Maybe they are gonna pick stuff from there, for example, if they're not gonna contradict the canon. I think it makes sense, and I think there is material for some good movies,
and also for some episodes as well. One thing that I really want to see in the new episodes is, back when the Clone Wars was airing, that David Filoni drew some concept art of the Yuuzhan Vong appearing in the Clone Wars, and if you don't know what they are a alien species from a different galaxy from Legends. And my god. Okay, the New Jedi Order series of books where they appeared had its writing problems, but the storyline was fantastic, and they were real horrible threatening villains. And they hated droids. They thought anything with technology and the Jedi was just heretic. They were heretics, and they build their own weapons and ships out of organic material. And my god, to see them resurrected into canon in some form would be amazing. So I hope they do they do bring them back in the Clone Wars.
Yeah, I don't know them because I don't know much about the EU, but it sounds amazing, and I do hope they bring him back too. Now, from what you're saying.
Thank you. But yeah, that's all I really have to say. I'm happy that it's coming back.
Yeah, I'm happy. I'm happy that it's coming back, and I'm happy that to see everybody happy and united for once. And I hope we have more moments of that, of happiness within the fandom, and look at the bright side. Look at the bright side and look at the things we get. And also, this is a great reminder that the traditional fandom, mostly they're not misogynist and bigots. Like I said, the Clone Wars was a TV show that had lots of prominent female characters, and it wasn't a problem like most of the time. So it's really cool.
It is really cool.
Okay, so we're finishing now this episode. I hope you liked it. If you have any comment, leave a comment. Also, if you like it, if you subscribe, it means a lot for us, because we do it for you guys. And you can also contact us on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, Tumblr, and hear this on SoundCloud. Thank you very much for listening, and may the Force serve you well.